we are back with Fiona Gordon. Hi, Fee.
Hey, Alex. Oh, let me put my video on. It's a little early. Obviously, my brain's not quite engaged. Hi, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm well, thanks. And I love your background. It looks great.
Yeah, I thought it's better that than the not cleaned up apartment behind me. So,
All good, all good.
so we have Fiona, who is the global director for BI strategy at GLL. She's passionate about building a great data culture, and with over 20 years of data industry experience, she's leading the way for women in the field as a Tableau ambassador. A tenacious enthusiast for data, Fiona defines GLL's journey to advance the analytics maturity curve and leveraging world-class tools such as Tableau and Alteryx to help stakeholders see and understand data. And Fiona is asking, have you been paying attention? And as far as I understand, there will be some audience participation as well. So please do pay attention and enjoy Fiona's talk.
Yeah, thanks for the intro there, Alex, and welcome everyone. I'm really excited to be presenting to you all today. Let me share my screen and get everything sort of set up as well. There we go. Cool. All right. So yes, it is a wonderful, wonderful day today. I know that we have many awesome sessions that are out there for TFF, and I'm super excited to be sharing with you a few different things about pre-attentive attributes and actually a little bit of neuroscience, the way that your brain actually works. So as Alex mentioned, I'll do a little bit of an intro into who I am. Yes, I work at JLL. Many of you know many people that work at JLL. It's a pretty amazing company to actually be a part of. And the reason why it's an amazing company to be a part of is that we have a great data culture, but even outside of our data teams, there are some amazing people there as well. And I feel fortunate and lucky that I can share my data expertise with such a great bunch of people. My role as Global Director of BI Strategy is that I get to focus on people, process, and technology, which gives me some broad remit in there. So in people, we've got the Centre of Enablement, where we do lots of activities on training like gamification, helping take people from rookies to rock stars. We also have Viz guidelines training, where we've actually rolled out training for our visualization guidelines, which provide standardization, consistency, brand recognition, and help us to get, really great outcomes for our stakeholders, because they get used to it. When you start to do things over and over, you build habits. And when you're building those habits, if they've got those same habits in data visualization, it makes them a little more at ease, I suppose, to look at our great data visualizations. Myself and my colleague, Simon Beaumont, have probably spoken at length about it. So if you haven't caught one of those sessions, if you Google it, we will be up there teaching you about why it's important to use standards and guidelines and how we've approached it at JLL. So that may be some help to you as well. I also look after process, which I have to say is probably the most boring part of my role. There's got to be one part that's really not the thing that you like to flex too much. So process is all about looking across our global teams. JLL's in 80 countries around the world. I think we have about analysts in about 9 of those countries as well. So we need to actually do things to help all of those people do things more effectively. And if everyone's got different processes, it means that we're not really working effectively as a team. So I have to do a bit of that. And then finally, the technology side. So I get to play with new tech and work out where we need to invest. Alex mentioned we use Tableau and Alteryx as our strategic data tools, which is super exciting. They're really great tools. We still love them. We are big fans of both of those tools, but there are other tools out there that we're seeing on horizon that will help us. And these can be anything. It can be from how do we onboard people into the team. Right now, I'm trialing a AI interviewer, which some of the Tableau community helped me test out as well. So I get to look at all those fun tech projects as well as BI tech as well. So that's a little bit about me and my role at JLL. If you want to learn more about JLL, feel free to reach out to me. You've probably seen we love to hire people and great people as well. So just flick me a message on Twitter. I'm at VizChick. That's VIZCHIC. So let's get started, because you haven't really come on here to learn more about me. You've come on here to learn more about data visualization and perhaps neuroscience and helping you along the way. So I wanted to know, have you ever had the issue where people prescribe you colors when you're designing data visualizations? Or perhaps they tell you that they want a pie chart along the way, and you're looking at them because they have no experience with doing any data visualizations. Well, this presentation is just for you. For me, I like to have fun with people to help them see and understand data in an easy way. And this is all using neuroscience. So this is how our brain actually works with data visualization. Now, the session is going to be a little bit interactive, so I'm going to need some help from you, because it's a little bit difficult in a virtual sense, in a virtual sense where it's just a one-way conversation. So please say hi on the chat now. And I'm also going to need some help from one of the panelists to unmute themselves and make sure that they're telling me that people are actually saying something as well. There are people out there.
Hi, hello, hi.
Hi.
Hey.
So oh, that's good. I can see that there's things flashing up, which means that there's some people online, which is really, really exciting. I feel this is a bit of Vegas magic, you know, that I need an assistant along the way. But I'm really excited, Em, that you're going to be, there we go. Yes, definitely have the video up. That's much, much better. I mean, I should have given you some more warning. Perhaps you would have like put the sparkly like numbers on and walk the walk. Poor Em was not expecting this. So thank you very much for playing along at home and saying hi in the chat as well. So let's get started. Okay, how do we experience our world? Take a guess. Out of our 5 senses, which one is dominant? And then what proportion of your day-to-day experience is through this sense? Now, what I want you to do is pop this into the chat right now. And Em, then it's over to you to start actually yelling it out for me.
Visual, smell, sight, visual, sight, visual, sight.
Well, there's a mixture of it. So we've got a lot. And how many percent?
90.
90? 90 for
90%.
Sight for 90%. Whoever said sight for 90% is spot on. You experience. Woo! Perhaps there's someone that's seen my presentation before. Is someone cheating out there? No, it's that's brilliant. I'm really excited that someone's actually been spot on. Usually people can't imagine that it's, 90% of our day-to-day world is actually experienced through our sight, which leaves only 10% for the remaining 4 senses. That's a lot that we're experiencing through our sight. And did you know that as humans, we can comprehend concepts 600 to 600 times faster when looking at a picture versus text? Who doesn't want to save up to 600 times the amount of time in their day to do things? So let's check this out. Write in the chat what this text means.
Circle, circle, circle.
Oh yeah, like it's like an echo that's coming through. Absolutely. But then what I want you to do is take a look at what's happening in this picture, like that pressure that you were put yourself under. Now, it's the same thing, but I want you to reflect on how it made you feel to understand that concept by actually looking at it. Didn't that stress dissolve a little bit when you had that image over the text? Okay, so let's give this another crack. We're going to put it into context. Here's a terrifying description of a T-Rex designed to induce fear. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs to ever stomp prehistoric soil. Everything about this ferocious predator, from a thick, heavy skull to a 4-foot-long, bone-crunching jaw, was designed for that bone-crunching action. Now, if it's text only, people will only 10% of people will recall the stats in the next 3 days. If I add a picture, 65% of those people will recall it. But if I add some bright colors, 82% will recall it. Now, it doesn't have to be those bright colors, but the color helps us to absorb that information as well. Now, who's seen this before? We're going to take your learnings about pictures versus text and apply it to data. Now, I know it might feel a bit odd, but I'm going to put you to the test. What does this table tell you? I want you to compare the groups. Now, I know a lot of you out there will have done it. You've got 10 seconds. I'm going to count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There were no differences between the table. Were there any similarities?
I think you've stumped folks.
Oh,
more than 10 seconds.
There we go. So this has got high cognitive load because I'm asking you to scan through that table. It's a very famous table. It's called Anscombe's Quartet. And it's a great way for us to understand the data a little bit better, or at least look at how hard it is, how difficult it is for us to read that text. So the stats in this table in every single group are almost the same for each cohort. As you can see, the average is the same and the totals are the same as well. But now I want you to reflect on what happens if I change that text to a picture. The data points in each group are quite different. There are outliers in some and correlations in others. So anything in chat there about how people are feeling, to actually switch from the text into the pictures?
Way better.
Way better, way better. Well, I think I'm preaching to the converted, right? We all know that visualizations are much, much better than text. So what we're going to proceed through now is a number of different tests. And what I want you to do is be fastest finger on the button and again, answer the questions. Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. Here's one to put your skills to the test. How many 9s are there?
13.
Beat your peers. 13. Someone's seen my table before. Who's on there? Huh?
Steve Procopou.
Ah, Steve. I don't think that Steve's seen my table before. That's really interesting. There are 13 on there. Those 13 on there are quite difficult for other people to actually see coming through. It is something that I've only had 2 people now actually shout out within 10 seconds in the table. But how about now? Is it easier to see those 9s?
I think so.
So color. Pardon me. Sorry, Em?
Oh, I'm just reading. Much better. Yep.
Much better. Awesome. So color, in this case, is hue, hue is a pre-attentive attribute. It helps our brain to process the information before everything else. And again, I can guarantee you that I'm reducing some of that stress, some of that friction that you've got when I'm putting you on the spot. And you've actually got something that's coming through, that I'm asking you a question, you're trying to compete against each other, you really want to get things done right. So let's take a look at something else. This really is the magic of Vegas. Did you concentrate on the 9? I promise you, there's no other 9s in this table. But what I'm drawing you to is I'm drawing you to this 9 here on the screen, and you kind of forget about all of the other gray in the background as well. So there are other ways we can help you with pre-attentive attributes. For instance, size. Now, this is the same table. I've just stopped coloring the 9s and I've increased the size of the 9s. What actually helped you more to understand the 9s in this table? The color or the size?
Color.
I agree. Color is definitely much easier in this particular instance. Now, it depends on some of the choices that we make in our data visualizations as to what to use. But I always recommend that you make, you're very, very careful with how you layer on your color in a data visualization. Now, how does it feel when I add lots of bright colors?
Ugh.
This is actually JLL's old brand palette before we introduced a new data visualization palette. What's the feedback from the crowd, Em?
Ugh. Ouch. Overload. Christmas lights. Cluttered.
Christmas. Oh, I mean, I guess it could be a little festive. So this is our old brand colors. There's definitely high cognitive load in here again, where the brain's distracted by different colors. There's minimal help that's coming through by the color that I've chosen for 9, but it's, it's a little bit of help, but not a lot. And, quite frankly, I'm so glad I get to leave this brand palette behind. This is actually our new data visualization palette that we built in conjunction with our brand team. And as you can see, it's still too much of a good thing, but it provides us with a little bit of easier context because we've got more light and dark in terms of what we've got in there.
Soft and pretty.
Thank you. So now I've taken the table away and replaced it with a simple bar chart. I'm breathing a sigh of relief that I'm out of that text. Using color, I draw your attention to the 9, but I'm still making you calculate that 9s are actually the 3rd most popular. There's a little bit of cognitive load in here, but it's much better than the table that we previously had.
Quentin said sort.
Yes, exactly. That's right. So now we're actually, pushing in position on the data visualization. Your eyes are simply drawn to the 9s and we can easily see that it is in 3rd place. Now, you would have never got that context in the table. You would have really had to start writing things out and really counting every single number. This is the way that we can actually help people along the way as well. Now, one last thing that I want you to reflect on is which colors that we use. We've got both charts here. We have a variation on the gray. The red's actually the same. It's JLL red. But comparing A, which is in our new data visualization palette, which is our highlight and low light colors, to B, which was our standard palette. We've still included red to carry through because it's part of our brand, it's part of our logo, but we just want to use it as something that draws attention. Now, what I want you to reflect on is the difference if you sort of cover one part of the screen, which we'll go this way, one part of the screen here and look at A, or the other part and look at B, and then think about what it is that actually helps you more. Is one making your eye water? Is one making it easier for you to comprehend? We've specifically chosen the low light gray to help push the other information into the back and really pull and draw your attention into the 9. When we look at option B, what we find is that our eyes water a little bit. It's not easy for us to really sit there and look at the data visualizations. There's actually more ink, because of the saturation that comes through. Now, that's all I've got for you today in terms of what we've done with neuroscience and how we prep things through. What I recommend that you do is that you actually comprehend or think about your end users when they're coming to you, when they're specifying, I need you to use, hundreds of colors, or this is what I want from you. This is the visualization. I want the text tables. Think about how you can have fun with them. Doing a presentation with your stakeholders, which is something that I do, like this, helps to draw them along on the story and teaches them about, interesting things about how their brain actually operates. By the end of presentations like this, where you're taking them through in a really fun manner around, how to understand data, how to understand pre-attentive attributes, how to best get that information really quickly, they are able to actually identify you as the person who understands data visualization, you as the person who is the subject matter expert. And they also have a little bit of knowledge as well that helps them to understand why you may be pushing back on some of the things that you're suggesting. So I hope that all of you have had a great session today and it being a little interactive. I need to thank everyone who participated. I really appreciate it. It's always got to be hard in a virtual sense when I can't hear what's actually going on. I'd like to thank my delightful assistant, Emily Kund, for her help today. She was great at sharing the answers that were coming through from you. And also all of the TFF panelists and presenters for actually putting the time and dedication into this wonderful, wonderful online conference. I know panelists and Em how hard it is to pull all of this together. It's herding cats, it's really trying to promote it, and you've done a fabulous job. And I wish you all a safe and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fee. Oh my gosh, this was so good. And it's such a great reminder. I just see it in the chat here. This is a really great reminder about pre-attentive attributes. Thanks for the fun session. And I loved how you also kind of gave us some actionable takeaways, because not everybody is a director of BI strategy, right? And so we don't hold those formal leadership positions. However, I think one of your takeaways that anybody could implement is taking people along the journey of which do you prefer? And then maybe, and you can say if I'm on point with this or not, but then by having even that comparison of the grays, then you can start to influence perhaps some change to brand colors in the event that you're not in the position to work with a brand team, or that's just been set at a corporate level and you're just the integrator.
Right. So when I first arrived at JLL, Simon had done a really great job at pulling together some visualization standards, and he asked me for feedback, because that's what we do at JLL. We ask for feedback and we want to iterate and we want to improve. And I said to him, the data visualization palette that we have is really tough. There was reds, blacks, lots of grays, but the red and the black throws together. And I said to him, listen, I reckon we should give it a crack and see if we can change it. And there were quite a few people that said, oh, you'll never be able to do it. But wouldn't you believe, I actually went through this presentation with my brand team, and I explained to them why color was so important in data visualization, and how their palette had actually caused us to have a lesser experience for both our internal teams and our clients as well. And what I wanted to do was build a specific data visualization palette. And they not only agreed to doing it and endorsing it, they paid for the program to go through. And bear in mind, yes, I have director in my title, but at JLL, we have 98,000 employees. So, one little employee can help to influence what's actually going on, and doing it by telling a story as well. So not just saying, it's hard, there's a better way, but actually taking them on the journey. And so we've actually created a really great partnership as well. They reach out to me a lot of the time for helping them with different things that they're doing on research, for data visualizations going out to our clients. So it's a really great thing to do. So don't be afraid. I know that it can be tough. I was really, it is surprising that brand teams, want to get on board, but if you can help them to understand why it's important, that's when they will actually help you out. It's my experience anyway.
Okay, and then can I ask another really quick question? These are all my questions, so well, I find it interesting because it's, from my viewpoint, it's not like you're visiting and you're really honed in on the the data viz pre-attentive, I mean, you did talk about pre-attentive attributes, but from where I sit, you really come at it from this, like, I mean, design thinking, neuroscience, which I think not everybody sees it through that lens. And so how did you even start looking at data visualization through that neuroscience lens? What books or resources, whether it's now or you want to pop them in the chat before you have to hang up, what resources, how did you get involved, and what resources would you recommend to folks?
Yeah, cool. There's some definitely some resources out there. I'll Google them and make sure that I've got the links handy and pop them into chat later on. I reached out to the Tableau community when I put together the Tableau Quest a while back. The Tableau Quest is, you know, a gamification program that takes people from rookies to rock stars. I recognize that people could Tableau, but they couldn't design, and they didn't understand design and visual analytics. And so we wanted to have some components in there. So we made some recommendations around which courses people could do. And I took a few courses myself to actually figure out which was the right one. So it comes back to, it's very similar to web design. So I liken creating a dashboard to designing a web page. And if you haven't designed a web page before, I know that you've definitely been on the web. You know, I know that you've seen it, and I know you've seen what looks good versus what looks bad. And so ground yourself back in that space. You know, if there was different size text for, you know, similar things for titles along there, you know, it makes it look clunky. You don't trust it. So if you think about how a website is designed to help you to buy something or to get information, a dashboard is doing the same. It's helping you to get insight to take action. So I was really, really curious about that. In addition, with design thinking, which is another program that I've written, the design thinking is really important because so many people come to you with requirements and they just want to vomit out 100 metrics around what's actually going on. So I did some research and I adapted a program from the Stanford Design School that we actually implement when we've got heavy projects. So big projects, they're not little ones, but big projects that are going to be, you know, sort of 2 or 3 months plus. We look at working with our stakeholders so that we help to define the problem statements with them. We start sketching so that we can really understand what's going on, and then go into what we call Moscow prioritization: must haves, should haves, could haves, and won't haves. And hey, like, this is all stuff I've learned on the job just by having a curious mind, by having the confidence to reach out to people in the Tableau community and say, hey, I'm looking for a design course. I want to understand visual analytics better. I'm putting together content for my team, and I need to make sure that it's the right content. And then I get, you know, several different recommendations, and then I go through the content course myself, and then I learn, and then I can help everyone else with their journey as well.
Well, I want to thank you so much. I know it's super interesting for me to see how you just, like, I don't know, have gotten into this like so scientific approach, and I've loved it. And I think it is so helpful for not just the people at JLL, but the rest of us. So thank you so much for presenting today and sharing your knowledge with us. Massive kudos and thank you.
Thanks so much, Em. Like, it's just been an absolute pleasure to be on the other side of TFF and be a speaker instead of a panelist. Super exciting that I just get to rock up 6 minutes before my session. But thanks to everyone for everything that they've done to put this on. As I say, it is a massive, mammoth effort, and I can't imagine with all the hours that you've got speakers on, and I know what happens. People get sick, and you know, there's lots of pressure. So thank you so much for having me. It's been really great. Catch you later.
Thank you so much.